Excuse me, can you take a photo of me?
Sure, but if you had the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6, you could snap your own hands-free selfies.
Really?
Watch. I just flex it to the perfect angle, set it down, and FlexCam with Galaxy AI automatically zooms for the perfect shot.
Whoa.
Post-worthy.
New profile pic-worthy.
Flex the newest Galaxy AI foldable Z Flip 6. Get yours now at Samsung.com. Samsung account login required. FlexCam length varies and is shorter than standard zoom length. Galaxy AI provided free until end of 2025 on supported devices.
In the 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee L, the journey from point A to point B isn't such a rush. In fact, with 3 rows of spacious comfort, thoughtfully crafted luxurious design, and an available premium Macintosh audio system, you'll find yourself seeking out the scenic route more often, even if it's just another lap around the block. Jeep, there's only one. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Lo, a rider on the horizon. This way cometh.
I'll take care of them. Daggum.
Nice shot.
I'm a crack, even though I only got one eye.
Oh, damn.
What?
It's another one of them Pony Express riders.
Oh, no.
Looks like he's got a letter for us.
Oh.
Grawlix Ranch, it says.
Oh, I'm so sorry I shot you, Dean. Oh, you were a good Pony Expressman.
Never mind, Dean. We got to get to the contents of this letter and help these folks out.
That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant. But here's the thing. I planted a shit ton of seeds after Mother's Day, like they tell you to do. And it's late August, and the carrots are shit. And I got like one good zucchini, and the summer squash totally MIA, and I don't think it's coming in at all. The green beans are pretty good, and the tomatoes are robust. But like I'm starting to think I'm getting too much direct sunlight on the garden beds. And what do you want me to do with it? That's the space that I have for garden beds. I don't control the sun. I do not control the sun. Welcome to the Grawlix Saves the World. My name is Adam Caton
My
Holland.
name is Ben Roy.
And I'm Andrew Orvidal.
And this is a comedy podcast about bettering your world. And sometimes we yield a fertile harvest, a robust harvest, and sometimes we do not.
Sometimes our garden beds are right in that Colorado sunlight. The only thing that grows in Colorado is fucking tomatoes. If you want a garden in Colorado, plant tomatoes. That's the only thing your ass is going to reliably get.
Why do tomatoes grow so well in Colorado?
They must just like hot, direct sun. I don't know. I hate tomatoes. I've never grown them.
You don't like
They grow
tomatoes?
so easily.
No, I hate them.
What are you, a difficult child?
I'm a typical child.
No, he said difficult, but also typical. But wait.
But Andrew, you love this pizza.
Yeah,
I see you eating this tomato sauce.
Exactly.
Come on.
I like tomato sauce just fine. I like
what about a
pizza
marinara?
sauce.
You like a marinara?
Sure.
Yeah. Well,
Can we stop for a second? What is the difference between a tomato sauce on a pizza and a marinara, Ben? Isn't that the same thing?
I think it's how do you spice it. Isn't it how?
Like if you,
isn't it? It's
okay.
all in the spices.
Yes.
I think that's what it is. It's all in the spice. And
okay, fair enough.
No,
good answer.
commit,
I was calling you
commit
bluff.
to
I
the
thought you were
accent.
bullshit.
We had a sub challenge for Ben to bring a new riff voice to this episode and
That's
to
right.
not deviate back into Donnie D when it bombs. And I sense there's an Italian chef bubbling below the surface.
well, he's been simmering on the stove for most of the day. What is the difference between what? Wait, I'm going to ask.
Are you Googling this?
GPT. What is?
No.
What?
Don't.
No.
Oh my God.
What is the difference between a marinara and pizza sauce?
ChatGPT knows nothing. You're not asking a source that actually knows anything.
Marinara is semi-smooth and thinner than pizza sauce, which is thicker and paste-like. Marinara's tomatoes are finely chopped and blended, but not pureed, like a pizza sauce, as well as differences in the spices. And so here's where
But there's also a matter of the consistency.
Well, Giuseppe, he's often made a runny tomato sauce and it'll soak through the crust.
If you're an Italian listener and this has offended you, I need you to know we don't accept that you have feelings.
And I need you to know that my grandma was from Bari, Italy, and I'm fine with it.
That's not even a real place.
It is a real
Where
place.
is
It's
Bari,
right on the coast.
Italy? Where is it?
Andrew, your grandmother hung out at a Sparrow. That's what she was trying to say.
She invented Sparrow. She brought Sparrow from the old country here.
Holy shitballs! Did I love Sparrow when I was a kid?
I think I had a joke about this, but this is probably the smartest I ever got. At Sparrow, we would get that piece of pizza in line. We'd order pepperoni or whatever we wanted with all the toppings. We'd eat all the toppings off of it in line. And then we'd pay for a cheese.
Oh, you little rapscallions.
Pay for cheese with like perfect circles like printed into it.
You think the guy under the red glow of the ziti tray is paying attention to what ingredients are on the slice crossing his purview? I don't think he gives a shit.
Oh my God, but why,
what a scam.
What
a scam.
What happened to Sparrow? Is it gone?
I don't know, Ben. You'll have to find a mall.
No, stop it. I'm not. Is Sbarro still
it's a
thing?
sickness. It's a sickness.
This is a new sickness and probably going to lead to a new challenge to get Ben off ChatGPT.
Off of fucking AI.
I'm not. Sbarro, they entered bankruptcy protection as part of the plan. They closed 182 locations.
That's more than I knew existed. I knew of two.
They used to be in every rest stop, and I loved it. The baked ziti was really good, and they had a nice Parmesan dinner roll.
They had a garlic knot that I would choke down like a pelican. For sure.
Yeah, the driest ass food you've ever eaten.
Shut
in your
up!
life.
You don't even know you were.
Sparrow
that was
sucked.
like going out to eat for you, wasn't it? It was like going to a nice restaurant for Andrew Orbital.
We're sitting down.
Andrew, can we make fun of you for a second? What was?
Sure, I'm down.
Of course, and it's weird. And it's weird that you asked first. Now I don't like it.
Yes,
you have 2 out of 3 Grawlix votes. You don't even need to ask Andrew.
Andrew, what was going out to a fancy meal for you when you were growing up?
Well, we didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up at all. So
he's so poor. He was very poor.
Poor boy.
Yes.
It was very rare. It was super rare to go out to eat. I remember on my birthday, I'd go to Mr. Steak to eat. It was a restaurant on South Broadway here in Denver. It was not a fine steakhouse, as you could probably guess by the casual title. It was Mr. Steak, not Dr. Steak.
Very thin, spindly legs coming out of the mascot out front of the restaurant.
Real Denver heads will remember Mr. Steak on South Broadway, and that's where I'd go.
This is why I ask questions like this, because he
I'd get the fried shrimp dinner, and it came with fried shrimp and fries. I can vividly remember looking forward to that. And that was literally a lot of times that would be like the only meal we'd have out was like a birthday meal. It was very rare.
It was a chain, and at its peak, according to ChatGPT,
it
had 278 locations.
You're not sharing any knowledge.
It actually looks like it was kind of a sizzler or a like.
Oh, like a buffet?
So it was a chain.
Maybe it had a buffet. I don't remember the buffet. I just remember ordering. But anyway, we didn't eat out very much, so it was very, very rare.
I had another. This triggered another memory. When you guys are talking about things that you did, all I do is think about me and how that pertains to me and what my version of the story.
Sure, that's that's like a human being thing to do.
I don't listen. Yeah, it's just that was and so I go to what was for me. And so growing up, there's a pizza place called Paisans on Colfax, and I loved it. and was where we'd go for every birthday. They had Italian food as well. It's just Paisans had a great Colfax sign out front of like a typical Italian baker man with a chef's hat and like a pizza in his hand.
It's a classic.
And that was there forever. And then Paisans left and it became a rib place, and they just painted that guy black.
And it was the same dude?
Oh my God.
It was the same exact sign.
Oh my, that is not true.
It's swear to God, it's true. And you just drive by and be like, "There's Paisan. He's had a
Paisan in blackface.
Paisan
It's problematic and it's not cool.
I have no idea. I'm sure the owners were black. I hope the owners were black, but that was their move. We're just changing this guy to be a black guy now who has ribs.
Amazing. There was a dive bar over on the other side of Colfax, way out of West Colfax, called the Guido's Nickel, and I was like, "There's no way this is okay." And this was recently.
So Guido's Nickel is a penny.
Recently, the Guido's Nickel,
it's a penny.
And then they sold it, and it became the Colorado Canteen. I was like, "You cowards." You cowards.
The Guido's Nickel. Holy shit.
That feels very problematic.
It's very
got
not
some
okay.
sort of background or backstory.
Yeah.
Don't
ask ChatGPT about the expression Guido's Nickel, please.
I'm not going to.
I would like to apologize for this intro to the Anti-Italian Defamation League. None of us saw it going this way.
They're too busy getting ready for the Christopher Columbus Day March, Adam. They're not even listening to this episode.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's a
They're so stupid. They're so dumb. All right.
Okay. I started with a garden, Adam's Pearl. I did not think we would go down.
Well, we went to
bashing
tomatoes,
Italian
and it's
way.
bound to get. It's only 2 clicks from tomatoes to Italian. And I, growing up, my dad had truly tasteless Italian joke book. And it was just full of great jokes about Italian people. And I had no idea what Italians were when I would say it. But what do Italian women and...
Don't finish it. Don't finish it.
I was going to say, because there is this, you do see this if you're a Ben Roy fan like I am, that somewhere there is an anti-Italian bias. It kind of bleeds through his every hour.
in French. You know what I mean? Okay. They need to get their fucking boots off her neck. All right. So, what do
maybe if you stood up once in a while,
what do
they couldn't put him there.
Women and hockey players have in common? They both changed their pads after 3 periods.
Oh God, that's such a hack joke.
Yeah, they were
I've heard a version of that.
They were joke books.
Ben, I think your dad's joke books were hacky. Straight up, dude.
Yeah,
I think your dad's bathroom joke books, dude. I don't think that there was an ounce of creativity.
No,
I'm with Andrew.
But I tell you what,
Andrew.
throughout this episode, I'm going to drop a new Italian joke on you guys.
Well, that's going to be a great way to come back from the break.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that already.
amazing.
We've got that
We
planned.
shot a rider on the hill, and we got a letter.
We did.
We do have a letter, and normally we would hoist producer Ron up from the depths in his submersible chamber to read this first, but unfortunately, he's not available. And I know I like to make jokes requiring extra sound effects work for producer Ron, but there's nothing funny about what's going on today. We have not scrubbed Ron's tub in a long, long time. And a pot of orcas has gotten a hold of it because it smells like a chum bucket, and they are dragging that thing around the bay. You hear about orcas attacking yachts and ships. They've had enough. They've also had enough of producer Ron in their depths. And they are treating this thing like a German shepherd with a tennis ball. They're chittering. They're squawking. There have to be, this pod is at least 60 strong, and it is out of control.
It's often teenage orcas. One of them kind of just goes as a dare to do this, and then the others, it just escalates. It's a Jackass episode. So these guys, there's no telling when they'll be done with him. There's no telling how dangerous and what.
And honestly,
teen orca will push it further. You know,
when we open that hatch, I think marinara is going to come out, not pizza sauce, marinara, because this thing is bouncing around like crazy.
It's going to be a chunky.
Okay, so a pizza sauce. All right.
No, pizza sauce is smooth.
No, marinara is a chunky. Pizza sauce is a sweet.
Yeah.
You know,
and a different spices.
I thought the marinara was like watery and lighter.
No, that's the watery's on the pizza. That's why kids enjoy it. The chunky, more tomatoey one in a marinara,
gringo.
they don't enjoy because that's more really like a tomato.
Fucking gringo.
Yeah,
All
I guess
right.
I wasn't paying attention.
But Ron, we're praying for you. We hope this ordeal ends soon. It likely won't. Orcas they have a incredible endurance.
Sons of bitches.
And vengeful. This could go for weeks. We hope to have you back. In the meantime, we will do your producer duties and pull this letter out and help a listener.
This letter,
dire straits.
This letter comes from a longtime fan and Patreon, Chris B.
Okay.
You know, I try on when Patreon letters appear. I try.
Oh, okay.
That's the motto.
That's great. Okay.
I try.
Okay.
I try. Okay, here's the letter. How do you deal with both MAGA and the apathetic voters as a liberal? Specifically, I deal with it in the workplace. Despite being a knowledgeable liberal, I still get talked down to by the MAGA troll I work with. It strains and stresses me out. And I could go to my higher-ups to ask for a no politics period, but I feel like that's a bitch move. Yet I feel if I give an okay enough type talk back,
You're already getting pretty political with that bitch move language.
This is
So I don't know. Yeah, you're already in the political lane.
I'm
So
not,
let's just stay
but
there.
I'm not bitch made. You know what I mean? Just keep going. I love you, Chris.
Yet I feel if I give an okay enough type talk back, I will hurt their little MAGA and nihilist egos. Or do I just wait until November and enjoy Kamala's hopeful win?
Kamala,
Chris
dude.
B.
Kamala.
What did I say?
Kamala.
Oh my God,
Kamala.
Kamala.
With Mamala. Give her the respect she deserves.
This is the first time I've ever seen the word or heard it, so.
Wow. Okay, that's a
Well,
minefield.
thank God this
we're
isn't
gonna
a
wade
sensitive
into.
topic. Something fun to relax on.
Doggy.
So-
It's an easy one.
This, of course, anytime there's a letter, advice is asked of three professionals. That immediately sets into action the rules of competitive advice giving. We can't just give the advice. We have to compete. Who won last time? I don't want to know.
I did.
Oh.
And I think before we go to Act 2, we should tally it up. I feel like I've won 2. Ben, how many have you won?
One.
Since
I've
we
won
started doing
2.
competitive. You're 1. And Andrew, you've won 2.
maybe
But I would
3.
argue
I've
I'm
definitely
at
won 2
because I definitely won the first one. We weren't judging with the advice about Katie. So
I cannot believe you would return
Again,
to that yet
again.
again. I cannot believe
when we hadn't introduced competitive
Well, I'm not
advice.
returning
it is not
to
a
it. I'm just
contest.
pointing it out that I'm retroactively, I'm putting into place laws that
it's so
hadn't-
insane.
No, it's
so
not
insane.
So I have 2. Ben, you have 1, and Andrew, you have 2.
No, I have 2. You guys have 2. I have 2. You have 2. Everybody has 2. We're
Andrew,
all 2.
do
Ben
you
does
know
not
that you
have
have 2 or
2.
do you have 3?
You're just so
I don't know.
fucking
I
stupid.
haven't.
You're
I
just
don't
such a
tally
jealous
them. For
piece
me,
of
it's
shit.
just the fun of competing.
Well, that's dog shit. Listeners, if you know the exact score, please remind us. I do believe it's 2. I think Ben's got 1. I think Andrew has 2.
I think
or 3.
Andrew's
I'm
got
sure of that.
3. You've got 2.
Because I remember thinking
and
Andrew was way
I've got
ahead.
2.
So I'm on his heels, and Ben remains in distant third, and we have to talk about the political landscape and how to navigate
This is
it.
how do
We're going to-
you talk to people, especially in the workplace? It sounds like about politics here in an election year, and like every election year and year in between here in America, charged up, emotionally charged up, and reactive. So let's take a break, and then we'll dig into this competitively.
Yeah.
So yes, let cool heads prevail. And
If you are,
and we'll come back.
if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you are of course about to hear some ads. But if you are not, but if you are a Patreon subscriber, you're flying right by those. You're just going right into the second part.
So if you're on the fence, get off the fence. Get on Patreon. It's $4 at the base level.
Yeah.
Join us.
In the meantime, we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we're going to fix the world's ills. We're going to fix the problems. We're going to reopen lines of communication. I think we're going to do it. We're professionals. So
Agreed. And apologies to all Italians.
stay tuned.
Excuse me, can you take a photo of me?
Sure, but if you had the new Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6, you could snap your own hands-free selfies.
Really?
Watch. I just flex it to the perfect angle, set it down, and FlexCam with Galaxy AI automatically zooms for the perfect shot.
Whoa.
Post-worthy.
New profile pic worthy.
Flex the newest Galaxy AI foldable Z Flip 6. Get yours now at Samsung.com. Samsung account login required. FlexCam length varies and is shorter than standard zoom length. Galaxy AI provided free until end of 2025 on supported devices.
Whether you're making a delicious family meal or a post-workout snack, choose the farm-fresh taste of Eggland's best eggs. Only Eggland's best hens are fed their proprietary all-vegetarian feed. That's what makes their eggs more nutritious. With 10 times more vitamin E, 25% less saturated fat, and 6 times more vitamin D compared to ordinary eggs. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Thomas's.
Thomas's presents Technique with Tom.
Slicing an English muffin with a butter blade? Boulder Dash! Just pull apart with your hands and marvel in the nooks and crannies' splendor. For each one is unique, like a snowflake. Thomas's, huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
Okay, so.
Oh, no.
No, stop. Why do flies have wings?
Oh, God.
I don't know.
To beat the Italians to the trash cans. Welcome back. If you missed the first
there's some things that ChatGPT will never win at. ChatGPT will never beat out a dog-eared paperback in your dad's bathroom basket.
Wow.
My dad had these laying around, and I apologize if there aren't any Italians listening to this.
Italians. As soon as somebody pronounces it Italians, this joke book's coming out of the back pocket.
Well, maybe if they get their boots off our friggin' necks. That's all I'm saying.
All right, man. That's what you say whenever you're cornered.
These
is that someone's got their boot on your neck.
You guys got your boots on my neck. That's why. And that's why I have to say stuff like that, because your boots are on my neck.
We are back through the magic of podcasting. Some time has elapsed, and we are ready to wade in to this highly, highly sensitive subject of how to talk about politics with friends, coworkers, people that you're going to have to see again, family members, where you can't just give them the "fuck you disagree with me," and you're wrong. You really have to navigate
people who
this.
you
It's a great
have to
question.
see regularly, and you don't have the luxury of just scampering off on them. So it could be tough. It's a good question, and it's the perfect time for it.
Yeah.
I do want to hear from our listeners across the pond, not the Italians unless you but I just apologize, and I don't want to hear how mad you are.
They're just too busy with their world-class food, amazing cars, and beautiful people. I don't think they're listening to our podcast anyway.
I'm sure every country gets super contentious, but it's so bad in America right now. It's just so fucking polarized, and I feel like it's only gotten worse in our lifetimes. I wonder, is it civil in other places? Are they just like, oh, we disagree? Is it always this ugly everywhere?
I fully believe whether or not it is in response to American politics or American politics is just the same as everything else and very globalized right now. Nationalism and jingoism is on the rise everywhere. I mean, if you've
populism.
I mean, if you've been watching what's happening with the far right riots that are happening in the UK, this is not this is not just relegated to just the U.S. There's been a rise in populism and in anti-immigration policy.
I know that's huge in Europe also.
Yeah.
Bolsonaro in Brazil. I know the French just elected some far-right person, but then changed
the
their
Venezuelan election debacle right now. All of that.
Okay.
So
it's all ugly everywhere. All the time.
I just think there is a groundswell. I don't know if it's an ebb and a flow that we forget after a certain amount of time, we forget about the dangers of nationalism and cults of personality when that recedes for a while. Like when we've we've had these periods where we've been without it and we've been thinking a certain way for a while, and then we kind of flip back, and then something terrible happens, and I don't know.
Yeah, we're like, who's this reality star rapist? He's kind of fun.
Ben, when you hear Cult of Personality, do you automatically hear the opening riff from the Living Color song? I didn't want to be alone in that.
The only reason I know what that term is
that song.
Yeah. Look in my eyes. Vernon Reid, greatest guitar. I think that's one of the greatest guitar solos of all time. That guitar solo is ridiculous.
Great band. Okay, well, who's going first? It's either Benjamin or myself because Adam won last time.
I have to go last. We will remind the listener we do competitive advice, so there will be a winner at the end of this who gave the best advice. I have to go last as I won last time. So yes,
I'm ready to go, Ben. If you need a second,
yeah, you go ahead. Why don't you go? Andrew's going to take this one. I'll be chivalrous. I have a feeling mine's going to be
chivalrous.
Thank you. Chivalrous, even.
I have a list.
That's not what he said.
Oh, we're going to make fun of my.
Don't make ours. Lifts do not make ours.
Lifts don't. No, lifts pick you up and they
that
drive
was a
you.
List. That was a
That was not. That was not a list.
I accept that I fucked up in speech, so I deserve
Mine
mockery.
was a lisp. I tripped over my tongue. You know it gets caught behind my bottom row of teeth.
Okay, just grab a blanket if you're chivalrous.
Ben has put his coat over the mud puddle so that I might walk through it and deliver my advice first. Thank you,
I'd
Ben.
love to hear your piece of shit bastard advice.
Never understood the logic of that. It's still going to sink. The woman's boots will get muddy, and the coat's ruined.
It seems
too.
like one of the most desperate moves to get laid in all of history.
These weren't regular textile like coats, wash and wear like we have now. These were a thick
leather jacket,
coat.
Stiff.
They were rigid,
stiff with baleen.
Aren't those like whale teeth? That's like what whales strain the plankton with.
I'm picturing a seaside community wearing hardy coats that are like stiff.
They're made out of whale
salt water
teeth
and baleen.
Hey, producer Ron, how are you feeling about this episode so far? All right, Andrew.
I painted a picture. I'm picturing Nova Scotia, 1810s.
Wild.
That's the type of coat this guy's wearing.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Here's my advice. Here's my advice for you, Chris. And this is something that has popped up in my life, and sometimes with family or with peers. It can be difficult. As we kind of got into this a little bit on when you have an intractable difference with a friend, kind of in this territory. But my advice to you would be, don't talk about the teams, talk about the game, because our modern politics is like a reality TV show, and the people in power absolutely want it to be that way. They love that people get all frothed up, lib this, right that, all of these buzzwords, it's way less about you caring about the actual issues and the policy platforms, and way more about our team versus their team. Red versus blue falls right in line with pro sports fandom or reality TV fandom. And so how would you talk about a sport you love with someone who loved a rival team? I know Chris B loves pro soccer, huge pro soccer fan. So let's say you met someone who was an equally huge fan of pro soccer, but for a team you absolutely hated. You
know this fan's a pro soccer fan?
I know Chris B absolutely loves pro soccer. Yeah.
Who's his team?
The New York Red Bulls, I think they're called. Forgive me, Chris, if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure. Big fan of soccer. I think all over the world, but definitely likes Major League Soccer a lot. So you could still talk about your love for soccer and soccer with this person, as long as you could keep the fandom and the team dynamics out of it. You could somehow find common ground with this person. And that's with politics, it's the same thing. Someone on the right, someone wearing a MAGA hat, or who we might describe as a MAGA troll, is probably someone who is lower income, who has watched the middle class evaporate underneath them, who doesn't trust their government to take care of them, who is deeply concerned about their future and the future of the world around them, which sounds a lot like someone who would be in the center, or even someone who is actually to the left. There's a lot of shared territory, but it gets wrapped up in the team reality show bullshit dynamics that are going on. And so people are just put on their blinders. So don't talk to this person about Trump or about Trump being shitty. Talk about the game. Talk about what's going on in the country that you both live in behind the scenes, and talk about what you...
No, Andrew's blowing my mind.
And talk about these things that you both actually care about so you can find some common ground. And it's not these buzzwords, and it's not red this, blue that, lib this, libtard that. And you can hopefully, in theory, maybe find some kind of stepping stones to actually finding the common ground that you both, because I guarantee you and this guy have shared concerns about the country you live in that might be underneath the surface social concerns that get all of the headline, like,
right,
they want to do a mass deportation. It's way more likely that this guy cares a lot more about paying his rent than he does about mass deportations. But mass deportations are what are getting the headlines because it is the sizzle and it's this reality show bullshit. So, Chris, talk about the game. Don't talk about the teams is my advice. All right,
wow.
Ben.
Wow. What'd you think of that, Ben?
I thought it was liberal cuckery.
No.
That's what I thought.
You did?
Yeah, it sounds bitch-made shit right there.
Bitch-made, to quote Chris B?
No, he's fucking... He's being fucking... No. It's really hard. I hate not going first because you know what's going to end up happening? I'm going to fucking lose in this one again.
That's just how you do advice. Your approach to advice is to go for the L.
I don't go for the L. I just take the L.
You're in a distant third place.
I'm not in a distant third place. I'm one behind you. And honestly, I shouldn't be.
Well, with the way you're introing this, it makes it
just
seem
hear me out. When I gave
I don't know if I have time to hear you out.
Katie made the right choice at Cake Crumbs.
That was the first episode of the weekly pod.
Yeah.
You're going back to that.
And we were giving advice, and then I said it, and everybody was like, whoa, that's a revelation. And then I don't get credit for winning that?
You don't, because we were absolutely not giving competitive advice.
That's what I'm talking
You don't
about.
think that we,
Get
Adam
your
and I,
fucking
could have
boots off my
changed
neck.
our advice if we knew it was
Why don't you
competitive?
guys get
I was phoning that one in. I was like, boo-hoo. Adam and Katie have problems with the neighborhood bakery. I'm texting a friend in New York. I don't give a shit.
Because you're a misogynist.
You were texting during that,
I'm just
Andrew?
kidding. I actually
I feel
did care
so
about
betrayed.
it. It was a great episode, and I was just teasing Ben. I was not phoning
You don't
him
think
in.
that Andrew and I could go find past episodes and construe them as victories for us? Of course,
There's
we
no
could.
construing.
However, we don't,
Mine was
because
clear.
we're not desperate because we're not in distance.
Mine was a clear win. So 2-2.
Ben, it's your turn. It's your turn.
It is my turn. It's really hard for me to organize my thoughts on this one because obviously this is very nuanced and there's a lot to it. But mine is largely, and I hate to say it, very much in line with Andrew's, because I do think there are a lot of very common things that we're complaining about. So I very wholeheartedly agree with Andrew on that. I think you said it very well. The big thing that I would add, or maybe a caveat to that, is if you are going to debate, and here's my thing, and I will say I was one of the people that would pop off about everything for a long time. I think you have to pick and choose your battles right now. I don't think we have to comment on fucking everything. You know what I mean? Anything everybody says, just let some of it go. It's just steam coming out of the person. He's probably not going to fucking do anything other than just go and vote that way, you know? And I think when you pick and choose what things you're willing to engage on and let other things go, it makes those things stand out personally. If you're not constantly firing off all the time. I don't really have too much more to add. I really believe right now it is incredibly important for us to find commonality because I think we are careening towards some sort of civil, I don't want to say a war, but some sort of very civil divide that could lead to violence. And I don't think anybody wants that. And I think a lot of it is being ratcheted up a lot of the people that are saying some of the shit that they're saying, I know personally that's not who they are. Like they're not bad people. They're not bad at heart. I think finding commonality, and I think even going beyond anything political. Yeah. Like I love the idea of just finding common interests. Andrew, I think you nailed it.
Wow.
I fully agree with
Unreal.
you on that, where we're at. And no, it's not unreal. It's not a comp. I could say something different, but I'd be lying. I think.
But you could say something different, but you might win, so you don't want to do that.
No, it's not that I don't want to win. I know I'm not going to win. First of all, neither of you ever vote for me.
I have voted for you
because we think you're racist towards Italians.
I'm not racist towards Italians. It's not racism if it's true. So that's not.
I mean, Ben did spray paint "No Italians Allowed" on his trash canister, so it's clear that he does believe this.
But the flies are still there.
Hey, by the way, I went to New York. Did you guys know they closed Ellis Island?
No.
Yeah, I mean it's like a tourist place now. They're not.
It's like a museum, right?
Yeah, they're not bringing the Italians through it anymore.
Jesus Christ.
That's my grandma literally came through Ellis Island. She lived in New York City. She'd never seen.
Great.
You'll like this, Ben. She'd never seen a flushing toilet in her life, and so her and her sister flushed every small object they could find in their apartment down the toilet.
And now we pay, our taxes pay for that. So that's all I'm saying. Adam, I know you. I watched. Side note, I watched a great documentary. And I've been trying to find it on my phone. And
called Italians, fact or fiction?
Basically, it was this. There was this Asian American journalist who went and met with white supremacists. Actually, spent time, stayed in their homes, and had a huge impact on that by just getting to know these people personally. And I'm not saying like that's how you should deal with something that extreme. I ride the fence on just beating the shit out of them or, but
beat the shit out of them or have a sleepover. It's really a coin toss. And
no, but
Chris,
what it did outline is how human behavior and how human beings work. And people are more likely to align with you if they like you. And I think what we have to remember right now is the point is to change minds. It's not to win an argument, it's to change minds. And so that is why I fully and wholeheartedly agree with Andrew. Adam, you're up.
Okay.
Well, that was also that was kind of a nugget of good advice in its own right. The goal is to change minds, not win our arguments.
Clawing at like a second.
No, I was not clawing at a second. I was not clawing at a second.
Against the rules.
I fully defer to Andrew. I think Andrew said it very well.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Adam, what is your divide and conquer? You're the asshole of the group.
I am not the asshole of the group.
Yes,
that
you
is outrageous.
are.
Okay, I'm convinced. So, Chris B, I got a question for you. The question is,
the way you said that was insane.
What state do you live in?
I believe this is in
upstate New York.
New York.
Jersey.
It's in. I don't know the exact town in New York, but I believe it's New York. Again, forgive me, Chris, if it's.
We know.
I want to say
New York is blue.
Hudson.
That's a slam dunk, right?
Yeah.
New York's blue.
New York, Manhattan wags the dog for sure.
Exactly. New York is always going to be blue, at least in the current landscape as we understand it. So who gives a shit what your coworkers think or whether you need to convince them? Your state's going blue. So fuck them. Put a little Donald Trump mask on your pants and poke your dick through it every time you look at your MAGA coworker.
This is a workplace.
I want to be, stop, Adam.
What?
Don't what? Don't do
this
that.
This is what starts the Civil War. Like years from now, we're like, yeah, so this guy showed up at work with the Trump cock mask.
In New York, a blue state. Who'd have thought?
You maybe don't go that far of taking your dick out at work if Ben or Andrew say that's not cool. But like, if the goal is to win an election, right, then you're winning in New York. You've done what you can. Just keep voting blue, to get the numbers out. You're not going to convince these guys. You're not going to change their minds. If you're in another state that's purple or red and your coworkers, maybe you can win them over. Here's my actual advice, which is listen more than you talk. Like, ask them why they're voting for Trump or why they're Republican, and listen as long as you can. And if you listen, then you might find that overlap that Andrew and Ben are discussing and be like, now this is the area in which I could probably align. But you're not going to know that if you don't listen. And if you just lead with like your viewpoint of like, well, I think this is why blue, the side, is unabashedly right in every matter and blah, 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 they've tuned out. But if you ask someone and like, so tell me about that. I saw you have this MAGA 2024 sticker. Like, I'm not voting for him, but why are you into that? And then just like, listen, you're going to get so much further than going on the offense.
Yeah,
you're going to learn about how vaccines are a fucking lie. And you're going
to. But I want to add to that. And I think that that's really interesting. The flip side of the coin is if they ask you questions, because they're more likely when you do that to engage and ask the same, answer earnestly.
Yeah.
Don't answer with anger.
Yep.
Somebody asked me recently, what is my political leanings? And I say, I always tend to side on the rights of humans, towards humanism. I will always support and tend to lean towards that because I just feel for people. I feel bad for people. I grew up around people that had to stay closeted because of an environment they grew in. I saw the pain that it caused them. And I stand beside people like that and their fight to be able to just live free. And it's not anything against you. I'm not saying you're that type of person. I'm just saying I want that person. And I believe that's what we should be afforded in this country. And I think
dude, totally. I agree with that. And I think, I had a Lyft drive in Chicago recently. It was a long ride. And the dude and I just started talking politics in the morning. He was a Ghanaian immigrant, but a United States citizen. And he was asking me about the election. It was during the Milwaukee Republican National Convention. And I was telling him I'm voting. It was Biden at the time. And he was like, man, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know. That debate was shaky. And he said he was thinking about voting for Trump. And I just listened to him for the bulk of the ride. And then I jumped in with like point. And by the end of that ride, he was like, yeah, I'll think more about it. Was what he said to me. Because I ended by saying like, dude, like no offense, you're driving Lyft. You obviously need extra money. Like, do you really think this rich billionaire's got your interest in mind? Like straight up. I just kind of said that. And he was like, that's a good point. It's a good point. But I would never have gotten that point across had I not listened to him for 20 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
And then now, Kamala's in there. I bet he's really reconsidering his vote. So I just think that is a way to do it.
That is so fascinating because you hear about these undecided voters, and in my head, I cannot imagine who that could be. But then you hear about it, and that would be a perfect example. That would be someone who it sounds like is an immigrant here and is not entrenched in the identity politics of our political system. And so he can approach it from a more... When I was a kid growing up in the 80s, my parents never knew if they were voting Democrat or Republican in the election because they wanted to wait and see what the policies were. I grew up in Maine, which
for the longest time was the largest independent registered independent voting body in the country. They just chose to stay registered independent. And I believe that's the argument that often comes up with this is, oh, well, you like Biden. No, I did not like Biden. I made that very clear. I did not like a lot of his policies. And I do not believe Biden to be like the age and mental aptitude necessary to be president of the largest economy on the planet. I just don't think that that's a good idea. And I would tell people, no, I don't. I don't like Trump, though, at all. And so we're all that's what I got to a common ground is I think a lot more Trump voters are choosing him just because they don't want to choose Biden. There's obviously the hardcore people who really really like him, and they enjoy the way he speaks, the way he does. But I believe there's a large portion of people on both sides who are just kind of like, I'll choose. They see one or the other as being the lesser of two evils, and
that's democracy, baby.
And I think too, growing up in Maine was really hard, going through a lot of what came up. I don't think that a lot of the people that I grew up around understand what the word white privilege means. And they really balked at that. And it's easy to do when you are generationally poor, being told you are privileged.
Right.
It is real easy to go, fuck you. Like I've struggled.
Yeah, I've never had anything in my life.
Yeah. I grew up, my grandparents were immigrants. A lot of people in Maine my grandparents were first generation. They came here fleeing.
And that's the last generation that gets in. No more.
But I mean, my own grandparents were, as we talked about in the genealogy episode, they were fleeing famine themselves. So like to say, like I come from generational
with Italian boots on their necks. I need to remind
they
up there in Canada.
They took all our wheat to make their dang pasta, and that's no. I mean, we just grew like, and so I think we talked down. I admit it. I did it. The left talked down to the working class
for sure
for a long time,
for sure,
and we lost them. We used to have the working class on our side because we supported unions and we supported
the left.
Middle
Always
class.
Assumed they would stay on their side because of that. But
then we started talking down to them and treating them as if they're lesser than us. And I think we have to accept our own responsibility on that. And I think that comes with what Andrew said and what you said, Adam, as well, as you gotta find some commonality here.
I want to say one more thing. I'm not submitting this as advice. My advice is listen first.
Yep.
Talk less, listen more. That's my advice. But I was watching the DNC recently, and I was watching Obama's speech, and he said something that I could do better that really spoke to me, talking about people who you disagree with in your workplace, who is sensitive, and you're like, well, I've got to be around this person. And again, if you're in a blue state, fuck them. But if you're in a red state and you can convince them to come to your side, I only practice kindness with a goal in mind. But what Obama said was, he's like, think about your mom, dad, or grandparent who has a sort of cultural view that you disagree with right now. Like I've had talks with people who are the generation above me about transgender people, because that's always culture war, zeitgeisting. And even like liberal, hippies who are now in their 70s, 80s, still have some antiquated views on it. And they might be like, well, I'll let them vote. They have the same rights, but they'll call them a weird term, or they're just not as advanced as your thinking is on it. And you give them grace because they're like a family member. And you're like, well, you know what? They're from a different generation. They haven't got a grasp on it quite yet. Obama was like, give that grace to your neighbors, to people who you see disagreeing with you on an issue that you would give to a family member who you disagree with on an issue. You'd be like, I wish they would be on the same side, but maybe they'd understand it, and maybe I can help them understand it better, and not by beating them over the head with it. So I just thought that was a really good point of like, our parents, we probably have some issue we disagree with them on, or that we wish they understood a little better. Give that same grace to your neighbor.
Yeah, I highly recommend too, and I cannot say enough to everybody out there, if you get a chance, read the book Think Again by Adam Grant. It is a fantastic...
By Adam Caton Holland.
Not by Adam Caton Holland. You did not write it. You keep saying that, but he sued you twice.
And please vote RFK Jr. When it's time to vote, cast your vote where it matters.
Everybody, check out the book by Adam Grant, Think Again. It is a fantastic book. And it's basically just about questioning yourself and how you approach conversations with people that you believe you don't agree with or that are your enemy. And usually you will be very pleasantly surprised by who people are at heart. And I truly believe that. So that's the advice. I guess we have to pick a winner now. And
it's time to vote.
I'll go
folks.
first because it's obvious, because I I literally just said that I don't have an answer because he said mine, which so I'm gonna pick Adam. No, I'm kidding. Look at you got your face. No, I gotta pick Andrew. I think Andrew nailed it very clearly and concisely how I feel and in my opinion. And yeah, I think that Andrew got the first run and he hit it out of the park on that one.
Well, thanks. Well, I thought both of you had good advice. Listen more than you talk. That's good advice for anything in life, not just talking
that's
politics.
A copy and paste advice right there.
That's good advice. But also, Ben saying this is just a nugget that you tossed out at the end. But I think that this is crucial. Your goal is not to win an argument; it's to actually like change someone's mind, which are completely different approaches and different outcomes. Winning an argument, if anything, just makes that person bolster their argument for the next fusillade between you when you argue. It doesn't make them change their mind.
Google the backfire effect in psychology. It is very real. The more facts you inundate somebody with, the more likely it is to cement them into their opinion.
Yeah, and it's also facts, unfortunately, are now an amorphous entity in our truth landscape. Facts, like, well, here's what my facts say. So I'm going to vote Ben because I think that is the true crux of it, is trying to change someone's mind more than winning an argument, because all we see on social media is trying to win arguments and insulting people, and changing someone's mind is much harder and takes much more personal, like vulnerable work to do it. So yeah, I'm voting Ben. All right, Adam.
All right. 1-1 here.
If you think I'm going to let Andrew get further out ahead of the competitive advice, you're out of your mind.
It's gamesmanship.
Also, what I enjoyed today most about this episode were the Italian jokes. And so, Ben, yeah, you have nothing to offer. You copy Andrew. But you do bring in ancient racist jokes that delight me, because I do have a simple side of my brain as well. So for that reason, you get the win today.
Insane.
Oh
Insane.
My gosh.
Ben has won the advice challenge from hack racist jokes in a stunning twist.
I'll take a W any way I can get it, guys.
And I'm not going to forget this, Adam. I'm not going to forget this.
I know you won't.
Feels good.
All right.
It feels good to prevail over two dipshits who gave bad advice. Chris B., I'm so sorry you had to sit through most of that until you got
gamesmanship
to me,
to this, to competitive advice. You have to be diplomatic, but
you have to play coy, like, I know what I'm doing. Like I did. I was like, I side with Andrew, and I'm willing to throw the victory down. I'm willing
your
to...
pettiness now could hurt you later, and you need to remember that.
No,
people are watching this post-game conference.
Fuck, I live in the moment, like an Italian getting on a steamer, coming over to the United States to build a better life.
Stealing all the jobs, getting into the dumpster, not changing their pad every period. What?
We are going to get in trouble for this episode.
Yeah, this feels like we went too far. At some point, I think the listener was like, this is funny. And then at some point, they're like, they got to stop.
Yes,
they should
do.
Stop.
Yeah, I think I've spent all my credit for having a grandmother from Italy. And
Andrew's trying desperately to give us a sort of blanket. It's okay. But yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. To the Italians listening, we love you.
I am trying to get Italian citizenship, though. So once I get it, we're back on the board, baby.
Yeah, there it is. Well, what an episode. Chris B., thanks for your letter. Anyone listening, please, if you have questions, we're experts.
At everything.
At everything. We know everything. You got a mole? Send us a photo of it. We'll debate what it is. We're crazy about this. So thanks for sending them. We love that. Feel free to ask us anything. I think we should probably cleanse our palate with some comedy. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Let's listen.
We've got a 8-minute segment of Ben reading from his treasured childhood book, You're going to enjoy this Italian tirade.
Why,
It's one
hey guys,
after another.
Why can't?
No, we cannot. We literally don't have the goodwill for another one. We can't do it.
Okay, but it was a
We can't
really.
do it.
This one was one I was really.
Nope.
I really like.
We'll do it in the fourth act.
Okay.
The fourth act is just racist joke books.
Yep.
Wow, we've never been
It
more
becomes-
popular. The
Yeah,
pod,
exactly.
the
It becomes
pod has
the
never
most
been more
popular.
popular. We're going down to Austin. We've
Yep.
got a couple of sold out shows on the books.
Yep.
Ah.
We're going to listen to some live comedy. We will come back for the best third act in the game. In the meantime, stay tuned.
You got a lot of family with a lot of opinions. You know what I mean? Parents got your divorce, your dad moved to Arkansas, he's got ideas.
Oh,
you know
big
what I mean?
ideas.
Step siblings that aren't really even your blood, but somehow you have to hear their viewpoints on everything.
And we need not tell you how the country is divided politically right now. It's just like, how do you broach that with
how
family
do you
members?
navigate the very touchy waters in such weird political times?
Right.
You know,
I
I mean,
don't know.
that's the
It's-
tough
You know,
thing.
I actually read an article. It was like a tip guide that when you get together with your family, you have a room in your house that's a designated safe zone for talking about religion
Really?
and politics.
Did any of you do
go
that?
into that room and then you can discuss it.
Like a racist panic room or
Yeah,
something?
pretty much. Just like your uncle's in there, he's just not coming out. It's like, you can't shit in there, Uncle Ken.
That's so funny because my dad totally did that growing up. My dad would, whoever was kind of like the bad kid when the kid had messed up, he'd put that kid in the closet and he'd get in there with them and just scream about politics. For like an hour, he'd just trap us in there and fucking
I don't think
scream
that's
about
not
politics.
even
This thing that we were talking about was like a consensual. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
sharing
no,
room.
not at all.
It's not
It's
even-
like, let's go, closet! And he'd just yell about fucking politics.
What?
It
I think
was
that's kind of
pretty-
like stage one child abuse.
Yeah, that's not healthy at all, dude. That's not even close to what he's talking
I'm
about.
pretty engaged
I mean,
politically now. I've learned a lot off of it.
what have you learned?
Well, I'll tell you what, that George H.W. Bush is a real piece of shit.
It's pretty dated, dude.
Hi, we're Big Little Feelings.
You know what else is big and little? Batteries.
Big energy.
Little size, and they go in everything.
So we switched to the world's first 3-in-1 Child Shield by Energizer.
It's the only coin lithium battery that has 3 safety features designed to help protect kids.
Secure packaging.
A bitter coating to help discourage swallowing, and an exclusive color alert technology that turns mouths blue when it comes into contact with saliva.
To learn more, visit energizer.com.
Oh, we're back. Act 3. Hey, third actors, you missed some good jokes. Hey, I know you were just joining us. Hey, I want to ask you, third actors, why can't Italians swim in open water?
Jesus.
Because they keep leaving rings.
What?
Like
it's
little oil rings.
oil rings?
Okay.
My
That would be the
God.
reason why they couldn't swim. They'd still be
What
allowed
an
to
episode.
swim.
This is what happens when we don't have producer Ron to cut Ben's mic. Oh my
They
God.
would still be able to swim.
With the big thanks.
So many people to thank.
Big-
Chris B, most of
and
all. Thanks for
mostly
sending
the
this
good
letter.
people of the country, Italy. We do love you. You are amazing people.
You think they accept that from you?
What?
Now? Okay, not happening.
I'm-
I could say it. Andrew could say it.
You're out of your
You are-
mind. As Giuseppe, you're out of your mind.
All right. Andrew, how are your plug pipes?
Yeah, can we
My
hear
plug
it?
pipes. That's
Plug pipes, lubed and ready?
Let's do it. Goo, goo, goo.
you see me over here slathering Vaseline on my
Vaseline.
mouth.
Deep into your esophagus.
Plug pipes, go. Plugs.
It is
plugs,
greasy. Smoother
plugs.
today. What do you got, Andrew? You got a
Oh,
big
I wish I
plug.
could have made him sound like an old-fashioned accordion. That would have been the way to
I
go.
think nobody can see, but Andrew and I are holding hands underneath the production table to join hands to share this event together.
Gripping them. Oh, yeah, that's right. We have a great plug. September 5th, my storytelling show, The Narrators, and producer Ron's storytelling show, is putting on a special one-off in conjunction with the Phoenix Recovery Project. They're a great organization. They do activities and sports, things like that, sober activities. We're putting on a special one-off show September 5th. Our featured storyteller, none other than Ben Roy. Ben is our
my years of
marquee
destructive behavior are paying dividends.
Ben is our marquee storyteller, but we have a murderer's row of storytellers. We've got Amber Tozer, Janae Burris. Producer Ron's going to tell a story. I'll be hosting it. It's going to be great. It's free with 48 hours of sobriety. So we'll miss you, Adam. But
fucking drunk.
I do 48 hours on my head. I go weeks at a time. You guys paint me worse than I
It's
am.
free. You just have to register for your seat for the event, and we'll have the link for that in the show notes. That's Thursday, September 5th. We hope to see you there. It's going to be awesome.
And I think we would be remiss as a group if we didn't plug this Saturday. Holy shit. We got the Grawlix coming up. The Grawlix live
Grawlix
show.
coming this
August
week, guys,
Grawlix.
this Saturday.
And our headliner, holy shit, Hannah Jones. Do we love Hannah Jones? Crushing it. National comedian. She is owning it. You all know her from her videos on the Tick of the Talks and the Instagrams. She's so fucking
Hannah
funny.
is a crusher. It's going to be great, and it's awesome that we get to see her close out the show and do more time. So grab those tickets before it gets to crunch time, because at almost every Grawlix, I have people text me and they're like, "Oh, is the show sold out? I'm worried I won't get tickets." You don't have to worry if you're going to get tickets if you grab them this week.
I love it.
Yep. I'm not going to go for any records, but I'm just going to laissez-faire it. And I want to say thank you to producer Ron. As always, thanks to Mike Henderson for your help producing the live show. Theme music provided by Charlie Continental. And follow us on social media at Grawlix Comedy. And of course, patreon.com/Grawlix Saves. Join us, $4 at the base level. There's lots of good shit on there. You're missing out.
You fucking nailed that. And
that wasn't, you didn't go for speed, but the cadence was so buttery.
Into it. You saw
it. Was nice. It was nice.
Felt nice, like an autumn jacket.
Like you're in just little slip-on shoes and a like a nice paisley like jacket. You know what I mean? Like a robe.
The steam's coming out of my mug, and I say, "Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you?"
I like it.
I like it. You know what I want to say is that we'll be back with a new episode where we talk about something or answer something or maybe do a challenge. We guarantee that.
I love it.
We guarantee that.
it.
In the meantime, play us out, Charlie!
Sorry, Italy.